What's up, folks? It's 2Bricks and I'm back with another mock to share with you guys today. So I was working on the wings of my T6 Ahsoka's Jedi shuttle, trying to make them lighter and just having a real cruddy time, just fiddling with the same parts over and over again, just trying to get them to work. And so I was taking a break and scrolling through Instagram, and I saw some pictures of this very cool Star Wars vehicle that I didn't recognize. And it turns out this was just a Hasbro toy vehicle. They refer to it as a mini rig. They're sort of like the equivalent, I guess, of like microfighters for the Lego community. So it's just a small-ish starfighter designed to accommodate a single figure, and it just helps to give folks something to, boost up their toy arsenal for a fairly limited price. And I just thought that the shaping of this thing was so cool. I wanted to make a Lego version of it because I just thought, why not? We have all the parts available. We have an Anakin minifigure, which is what came with the original set. Sort of a Clone Wars era ship here, and I just thought, like, heck, let's give it a go. So unlike my previous mock that I just released, where I was trying to sort of look through my own creative design lens at a pre-existing Lego product and sort of, put my spin on it. This is more of a standard, just sort of like translating what I saw in the toy that I really liked into Lego form as best as I could. Now, it would be even better if this windshield piece here was actually white instead of gray, and that would really kind of tie the whole thing in together a little bit better, I think, than even what we see here. But overall, I'm really happy with the results. I actually went a little extra in the sort of boxy dimension of things. This is actually version 2 of this. I did have a version that was a lot more sort of a lot more kind of off angle and weirdly built, and just taking a lot of interesting routes to try to achieve the same shapes, and I really wasn't happy with the final result. And then I kept tweaking and I ended up with this, and I'm very happy with this result indeed. So super happy to share this with you guys today, show you the design, talk about some of the techniques that I used. And if you do want to build this for yourself, check out the link down in the description. You'll be taken to my Rebrickable page where you can download the PDF instructions and get the parts list as well, so you can easily order everything that you need to build one of these for yourself, because I think it's a worthy little ship and it's very cool. I actually have a slight little modification that I wanted to show you guys towards the end here, where I actually remove the element here of these front cannons, because I actually think it looks even better without them, and I replace it with a little something different. So make sure to stick around for that. But yeah, if you want to just build this as you see it, be sure to check out the link down in the description below for that. So every purchase that you guys make does help support the channel, and I really appreciate it, because Lego is not cheap, and especially these days there's so many new parts coming out. It's hard to stay on top of everything, and I'm just trying to keep my head above water as far as cost, and it's not easy. So yeah, everything that you guys do on that end really helps, and of course you get a cool ship that you can make for yourself as well in the process. So it's a win-win. All right, so let's take a look at this ship up close and see all of the features that it has to offer. I think it's pretty cool, so let's dive in. All right, so what are the features and things that go into this? So overall, it's a fairly static, just sort of play and display type model here. The fins are designed to have a fixed angle. They're not really meant to be played with. They're set at very specific angles to achieve this very gap-free surface here, where all of the blue meets up very satisfyingly there, and then all of these little black trim areas all just line up really well close together there, and just create this nice sort of seamless border around the edges. So you're really not intended to mess with any of that. It does have an opening cockpit though, and in here we have our Anakin Clone Wars figure there, and he actually also has the 2 control yokes, so I can pull Anakin out. So he's got the little gear here that can easily, the control sticks that can easily move forward, and then that gives you room to just place him down there, and he's just held into that little minifig the little minifigure foot bracket there holds him in place nicely. He's got a nicely padded, cushioned looking seat here, and then also we can remove this entire seat back, or the entire seat itself. You could sort of see that as an ejector seat if you wanted to, but then I put a little hollow space down in there, just a cavity large enough to store Anakin's lightsaber. So I thought that was a cool thing that Lego sets often have when they have a little bit of extra space. Throw in something that's usable space-wise, and then here you can just place very easily the gears keep calling them gears, the sticks back into Anakin's hand, so he's piloting the thing once more. Canopy closes very satisfyingly and just meets up really nicely here with this line, and I'm just really just satisfied with how overall that shaping came out to create that nice swoop down towards the front. So the wings here are fully posable, so they can go all the way up like so, and then they can go all the way down to ground level as well. And this is something that was reflected in the toy, and it's something I really wanted to keep in here as well. So you can really choose the angle of play. So I really like to imagine this sort of coming in for a hard brake scenario where the wings sort of act as air brakes, and then they can sort of reset when it's down and go into more of a gliding type of a stance there. Or perhaps, you know, something like this, we have more of a sort of crazy X configuration like that. I think that looks really cool. And then also, of course, if you have the classic scenario of going through a super narrow tunnel, you can imagine the wings coming down like so. You could even have them pitched forward like this, where they're sort of acting like, you know, extra shielding. Say there's fighter craft attacking from the sides, Anakin can flip the wings up to act as extra shielding for his cockpit. So really a lot of cool functionality and posability that is available there from those wings. And like I said, with the toy being able to do that, I really wanted to replicate that here as well. And because we have this little fin on the bottom side here, the ship can stand perfectly fine on the fins, and you know, these forward wings on this little back fin here, and it looks really nice with the wings up like this. It's almost even more Star Warsy that way to me, because so many Star Wars vehicles have the folding vertical wings for easy storage and less footprint on the tarmac there. So I think that works really well. And then in the back here we have these engines that are fairly simple and chunky in the way that they're constructed. So they're plugged into the Technic bricks with two pinholes in each. So just plugged right into that. So it makes it very sturdy, and you can just pick the ship up from back here, hold them by the engines. You can hold it by the bottom here, and you can just swoosh it. And what I really like is you can just sort of have this, you know, down and then deploy it, and with your fingers there, just have the wings come out into the gliding mode very easily as you're playing, and you can sort of manipulate these with one hand. So so yeah, I think that all works out really nicely. The engines, the look of them, I tried to be really faithful to what we saw in the actual toy. I never actually had one of these toys. I just have, you know, I was just looking at reference images online. I did simplify the color scheme ever so slightly down here, so I didn't include the white stripe going all the way through, because I really wanted to use this wedge plate in here to step up the design to where it gets wider in the back. And then so I just eliminated, I actually had these grill tiles up in the front here too, but I didn't like the break in the middle here, so I just kept those towards the back, so we have just a little bit of a white stripe running through the back here to just kind of give a call out to that element of the toy design. Again, here also we're simplifying this shape up in the front just due to the complexity of how this is all constructed and plugged in. And then I do have also the Republic logo up here, and then two more on the wings. So strictly speaking, there should be another one of those on this side, but I only had one to hand for some reason. But everything else I think I've been fairly faithful in representing. We have these sort of gun turrets here, which can be posed outwards or to the rear. Whoopsie daisy, just try not to completely lose your guns. But yeah, you can rotate those around. Obviously, they're just rotating around a single stud, so you do have the propensity to pop off. But you can rotate those facing backwards, so if Anakin is in pursuit, or if you just think it looks cooler that way, so that there's this sort of trailing edge, you can definitely do that. The guns at the front here are not posable. They're just, you know, in place. And then, again, due to the construction of this whole front area here, this is technically angleable, but it's not intended to be. It's intended to just be set at a specific angle and stay there. But that is just something I thought I would mention as a sort of accidental feature, I guess you could call it. But yeah, so that's pretty much that. I do want to peel some things off and give you guys a look at some of the internals of this, how I achieved some of these angles, because it was a tricky thing to figure out for sure. It's got like as many challenging and difficult angles to achieve as like an X-Wing fuselage would, but in a much tighter space. So I definitely had a hard time figuring out exactly how to represent the very slightly widening sides of the cockpit here, and then this nice kind of hood section, and how all of this ties in. So yeah, really excited to peel all of this off and give you a look at some of the internals. So let's do that now. So you can see here the wings are held in with just these Technic pins with the axles on the one side to give it the strength there to connect into this little Technic, I don't know what these are called, but the sort of lift arm ends that have the connectors in them. And then that's just connected with a 3 long Technic pin into the wing there. So that's what gives it that nice freedom of rotation. And then in the side here, we just have this little piece that's sort of clamped in that represents the part of the fuselage that flattens off at the back. And then up here at the front, we have 2 different ball joint connectors. So one there, or sorry, a ball joint connector in the back, and then one of these pieces here that is connected with a Technic pin that allows for 2 extra studs to be connected at the front. And then all of this is one assembly that you can see here is achieved with a ball joint to enable the wings to be set to exactly the correct angle. And all of this is very, very specifically designed in here to fit exactly the needs of the space that is required. And like I said, it really did take a lot of doing to figure all of that out to make it just work just perfectly within the space that is required in here. I have this interesting ratcheting hinge technique here to go from the 2 wide space here into the 1 wide space in the front here, because that's all that I have to work with. And then that's just simply to allow the front section to connect in here and have somewhere to go for that. So yeah, a lot of really, really tricky, challenging design work went into this for such a small thing. It's it definitely had its share of complications. So just putting all of this back, you can see here, it goes together fairly simply. With all of the different sub-assemblies, you can definitely just put this together fairly fast. And it's nice and sturdy in the end. So, you know, grabbing it back here is nice. You can grab it in this section too. This is all held in very nicely with the 4 studs front and back. So you have enough strength in there to be able to pinch this at really any point, pick it up and move it around. So that's great. The only kind of fragile section is down here at the front. Just, you could see there when I opened it up, just the way that all of these things come together just requires it to all sit at the exact right angle. So if you start to mess with some of these, you know, they can all come apart, right? And that's just by virtue of how it had to be constructed. And then, oh yeah, and then this whole section in here, this is kind of an interesting little sub-assembly as well. So all of this is constructed like this with the bricks modified with studs on the side, and then we're just connecting it in here to this one little spot that is left available here to me by the Technic construction. So I'm using one of those you know, hand pieces there that clips into this bar piece and just allows this to perfectly sit at the exact right angle to snugly fit up against the inside of this, and then line up with the inside, you know, edge here of the canopy piece. So that just really worked out better than I could have possibly hoped. And then, you know, the way that all of this lines up in here with the slope piece, just filling up the gaps in here just perfectly, and then that ingot on the top just finishing off that black trim. All very, very satisfying. And through a lot of trial and error, I was able to achieve all of those angles there, which was, again, just a real pain in the butt, but so satisfying once you figure it out. It's like a hard video game, you know. Once you beat the boss, it feels really good. But while you're figuring it out, you definitely are bashing your head against the wall a lot. So there you go. So let me show you the little swap that I would make if I had personally designed this vehicle. It's such a small thing, but I think it makes a huge difference. So yeah, let's do that now. So the swap that I'm proposing is to take these 2 front cannons that are situated right there in the middle and remove that whole subassembly, and instead swap it for this piece, or this little subassembly right here. So we just clip that in to the middle like so, and then we fold that up into place. And you can see there that, at least for me, it immediately feels more plausible and more Star Warsy with just that simple additional element and the subtraction of these 2 cannons here, because to me, the wingtip cannons and then these wingtip cannons down here all feel like they are an appropriate amount of armament. You know, these feel like heavier, you know, turret style ones, and then these are sort of light blasters for ship-to-ship combat. And it feels like this to me is overkill to have 2 giant cannons sticking out of the nose of the thing as well. I think that this makes the lines a lot cleaner. I think it makes it look more convincing in world, and then it gives you this little bit of a kind of grill air intake there, which kind of helps with that 70s clunky car aesthetic that this has, which I really love, and I think just gets taken to the absolute extra nth degree by that simple substitution. And if I were designing this vehicle, that is what I would have done differently. You know, again, a small minor upgrade, but in my mind, one that really helps to sell it as a official Star Wars in-canon vehicle, and I'm super happy with that. So if you do want to make that substitution, all you need to do is simply, you know, remove this and then add those two pieces, which is the one cheese grater piece on top of the 1x2 clip, and then just stick it in place of this, and you know, really easy. So there you go. So there you have it. There is your Attack Recon Starfighter. I think that this thing is so cool, and I'm definitely going to be keeping it in my collection for a while. It's really nice to have my Clone Wars Anakin figure have something cool to ride around in. You know, I mostly just kind of have my Clone Wars figures just sitting up on the wall with not a ton to do, because I tend to prefer the more modern figures, because they give him these sort of stylized Clone Wars face. But you know, putting him in this vehicle that feels purpose-built for the Clone Wars era fig, it just kind of helps to elevate it, and it makes me happy. And seeing Anakin in the cockpit there, it just makes me happy. So yeah, I was really happy to finish this one off, and I'm really curious if you guys are going to be building one of these. Are you going to do an alternate color scheme? You guys know I always do include the digital file for these, so you can actually open that up in Studio, and you can do your own, you know, kind of a color scheme variation. So you could do an all black version and put Vader in there instead. You could do, there's actually a color swap that Hasbro did as well, which kind of followed the color scheme of different, the new class attack shuttle, where it has the yellow and red kind of color scheme there. So you could totally have a stab at that yourself if you wanted to. But I'm just really curious what you guys end up doing with it, and if you like it. So leave those thoughts down in the comments. I always love to hear you guys' opinions on these kinds of things. And let me know how you think I did translating this non-canon vehicle into something that feels plausible and still Lego. So yeah. All right, so that's going to do it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I have many more mocks that I'm working on, including the T6. That has been the absolute epic journey of my life, getting that mock finished. So super excited to get that one wrapped up for you guys. But in the meantime, I'm glad to be able to still work on some little small projects in my spare time, such as it is. And so I'm going to get to work on finishing those up. Thank you guys so much for watching, and may the Force be with you.